There's something about the cooler, snowy, cold weather that really makes me want to just snuggle up with a dark, atmospheric read. Hey guys, welcome back. I am super excited to have you here today because I am talking about my most anticipated mystery and thriller releases coming out this winter. I was going through the list of upcoming releases and there's so many good ones out there that I wanted to share with you because if you're looking for something atmospheric like I like to read, you'll have your pick. Let me know in the comments as I'm going through the list if you have read any of these, if you were lucky enough to receive an ARC. I'd love to know your thoughts about it. Or even if you haven't read, let me know which ones, if any, you're interested in. So without further ado, let's dive in. The first one that I want to talk about is a book called Never Have I Ever by Lucy Hay. And this one comes out December 12th, and it's about a group of teens who played Never Have I Ever. Things got a little dark, and so fast forward 15, 20 years later, one of the teens, now grown obviously, gets a note from an anonymous sender saying, never have I ever paid for what I've done. So she ends up getting sucked back into the Never Have I Ever game to avoid her secrets being exposed. This one sounds right up my alley. It almost sounds like a mix between Pretty Little Liars and I Know What You Did Last Summer. I'm a fan of both of those. So I really am looking forward to the unknown sender aspect. That was one of my favorite parts in Pretty Little Liar, you know, who A is. And so to read that in a book, I have high hopes for this one. So I hope it delivers. Next up, we have Good Girls Lie by J.T. Ellison. This one comes out on December 30th, and it takes place at a Ivy League boarding school. A group of teen girls who just run the school Mean Girls style. They do whatever the hell they want. Everyone turns a blind eye, and a newcomer comes in, and just like in Mean Girls, she just messes everything up. And somebody ends up getting murdered, which means that the faculty can no longer turn a blind eye. Things that you thought were one way are different, and it's just all around mystery and people getting their shit put on blast. I really am intrigued by this one for a few reasons. I really like books that are set at prep schools, boarding schools, all that jazz. And this one reminds me of a mix between Gossip Girl and the Skulls movie. I think that's the name of it. It was this early 2000s movie with the guy who played Pacey in Dawson's Creek. And I think, what's his name? Paul Walker. Paul Walker was in it too. Anyway, you've got this whole secret society underlying theme in there too. So all in all, this is definitely one that I am excited to check out. Okay, so this next book is called Just Watch Me by Jeff Lindsay. It comes out on December 3rd, and to be honest, when I read the synopsis, even though it sounds interesting, it sounds more like an action. But the reason that I added it to this list is because it's by the same guy who wrote Dexter, and I'm a big fan of Dexter. Obviously, that does have to deal with like serial killers and something that is much more thriller than action. But anyway, I digress. This one revolves around a prolific thief who decides to take on this big job of stealing the Iranian crown jewels. And he's not in it for the money, though obviously they're worth a shit ton of money, but he's more so in it because he wants to just level up and do what can't be done, which is steal these highly guarded jewels. So while he's trying to do that, he's got a whole bunch of people trying to stop him, from cops to his enemies to the security guards who are posted up at the place where he's trying to break in. This one sounds fast-paced, like I said, action-y, not necessarily mystery, but I am intrigued because the synopsis kind of hinted at things going wrong that do give it that mystery aspect. So for that reason, I'm leaving it on the list. Next up is The Dead Girls Club by Damian Walters. This one comes out on December 10th, and it starts off with a group of friends who have this club called The Dead Girls Club, where they talk about serial killers, other dark things like superstition, and one of the superstitions is called the Red Lady, which, by the way, it was described in the synopsis, I'd say is like a Slender Man. And so one of the girls in the group really believes in the Red Lady, and she ends up dying. So fast forward like 20 years later, and one of the surviving friends gets a package in the mail, and the package is the necklace that her friend who died was wearing back when she died. So of course the woman is freaking out, and she's trying to figure out who sent the package, because whoever did obviously knows what went down the night that her friend died. So this one is similar to Never Have I Ever in the fact that it sounds very I Know What You Did Last Summer with the whole mysterious package thing, but it's different in that it's got that Slender Man element to it. I'm not sure if that means it's got some kind of supernatural element to it, but nonetheless, it definitely sounds dark. It sounds creepy. I'm hoping that the writing is atmospheric. I didn't get a chance to read a preview, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it lives up to my expectations. Next, we have Mr. Nobody by Catherine Steadman, and this one doesn't come out until next year on January 7th, I believe. And this one I'm actually really excited about because it screams Broadchurch, if you know what I mean. It's set in a British seaside town, and one day an anonymous man washes up on the shore of this small town. Nobody in the town knows who he is. He doesn't have any ID on him, and so they take him to the hospital, and when he finally wakes up, one of the local people who is a doctor there, she is tasked with asking him questions and just evaluating him. And so as she starts to talk to him to see if he remembers anything about his past, she realizes that even though he might not remember anything about himself, he sure knows a lot about her, which obviously is disconcerting. So she's got her own secrets that, based on what he's saying, is dredging up a lot of discomfort for her. It's very creepy in that you've got a stranger knowing more about you than anybody else in your life does. I'm really excited about this one because, like I said, it reminds me of those darker British crime shows like Luthor, like Broadchurch. I'm hoping this one lives up to my expectations, because if so, it's a potential 5-star read. Okay, so next up we have Fan Mail by Daryl Wood Gerber. This one actually comes out a little sooner in November, but I included it anyway because, again, it's one of the ones that sounded really good and I'm excited about. A local newswoman who receives a lot of fan mail because she's somewhat of a local celebrity, and one day she receives fan mail from a stranger saying that they killed somebody in her honor. So naturally, the woman is disturbed by this. She doesn't know if the person who sent the letter is now going to come after her or is going to keep murdering people to please her or impress her or anything like that. So she hires a private investigator named Aspen to look into it. And from what I read, the series is going to follow Aspen, who is the private investigator, as she goes on to her cases. In this one, Aspen is trying to track down who sent the letter, assumingly it's the same person who's committing those crimes. But as she starts digging into the backgrounds of people and trying to figure out who's doing it, things start happening to her, and she just gets a little bit too close to home for this. So this one sounds exciting because now she's having to not only solve the mystery, but also prevent herself from being killed, because you've got this psycho on the loose doing whatever they can to not let anyone get in their way or stop them from their ultimate plan. I love a good up against time thriller, and for that reason, this one sounds right up my alley, because obviously she's on a deadline trying to figure out who this person is before they kill somebody else. Okay, so that's it. I've got a handful of upcoming thriller mysteries that I'm excited about. Hopefully you guys are too. Let me know in the comments which ones you're excited about, if you've read any of them, if you've read any other thrillers or mysteries that I didn't mention that are either newly released or coming out soon. I'm always looking to add to my TBR because, again, I usually breeze through darker mysteries around this time of year. So that's about it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!